You might think you're in control of your life, but what if that control is just an illusion? What if the thoughts swirling in your mind aren't even your own? Intrigued yet? Today we'll break down 3 subtle, deceptive ways your ego keeps you trapped, whether in your relationships, your self-image, or even your choices. You wake up, reach for your phone, and within seconds you're scrolling. A flash of someone's morning workout, an announcement about a new promotion, a perfect vacation snapshot. As you scroll, there's a tug you might not even notice right away. A voice in your head quietly asking, "Am I enough?" This is where the ego sets its trap. Through the first lie, you are what others think of you. The ego is constantly on the hunt for approval. It craves it, feeds on it, builds an idea of who we are based on how we're perceived. Think about social media, the perfect place for this craving to grow. It's like a hall of mirrors, but instead of reflecting who we are, it shows only fragments. The filtered, curated versions we want others to see, and we end up doing the same when we look at other people, comparing, judging, measuring ourselves against images and stories that often aren't even real. This cycle creates a fragile kind of self-worth, one that's tied to likes, comments, or compliments. Studies on social media and mental health show that this external validation doesn't just affect how we feel, it shapes how we see ourselves. A 2020 study from the University of Pennsylvania found that reducing social media use can significantly improve self-esteem and reduce feelings of anxiety. And it makes sense, doesn't it? Because when your self-worth is built on shaky ground, like the opinions of strangers or acquaintances, you're constantly at risk of losing it. Think about it. Have you ever posted something online and then worried, maybe even obsessively, whether you'd get the same number of likes as before? Or maybe you've spent too much time scrolling through someone else's life, wondering why theirs seems so much better. These comparison traps are where the ego thrives. It locks you into a pattern of needing validation, but feeling empty even when you get it. This is why Carl Jung's words resonate so deeply. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. What he suggests is the opposite of the ego's lie. We become who we truly are not by looking outward for approval, but by turning inward, by understanding our intrinsic value, which doesn't fluctuate with others' opinions. Imagine what might happen if you stopped tying your worth to others' perceptions. Instead of constructing your identity on applause, what if you grounded it in something unshakable? This is where authenticity begins, when you stop living through others' eyes. But if you think your ego stops here, think again, because if it isn't others' opinions, it cleverly convinces you of another trap, that your thoughts define you too. Have you ever caught yourself replaying a mistake in your head, as if thinking about it one more time might change what already happened? Or maybe a thought popped into your mind, a harsh criticism, a random worry, and before you realized it, you were consumed by it. This is the second lie your ego tells you. You are your thoughts. Your thoughts are loud, persistent, and often convincing. The ego thrives on this, making it easy to confuse your inner dialogue with your identity. It blurs the line between who you are and the endless stream of mental chatter, convincing you that if you think it, it must be true. But here's the hard truth. Thoughts are just events in the mind. They aren't facts, and they certainly aren't you. Think of your mind as a noisy room, lots of voices all trying to get your attention. You've probably noticed how, in moments of stress or self-doubt, one voice seems to get louder than the rest. You aren't good enough. You'll never succeed. That mistake defines you. The ego amplifies this noise, convincing you to engage with and believe every thought. And the more you engage, the easier it is to feel overwhelmed, to lose sight of the quieter part of yourself that's just watching it all happen. Carl Jung offers a profound perspective here with the idea of the observer self. It's the part of you that exists beyond thoughts, the one that can step back and watch the chaos with clarity. Imagine looking at your thoughts the way you might watch clouds in the sky. They pass by, shifting and changing, but they aren't the sky itself. You aren't required to chase after each one. This disconnection from thoughts isn't just philosophical, it's measurable. Brain studies have shown that mindfulness practices, which emphasize observing thoughts without attachment, can decrease activity in brain areas linked to rumination and self-criticism. Think about that for a moment. You don't have to fight every thought or get tangled in every inner argument. Simply recognizing that they're only thoughts can quiet the noise. Symbolically, it's like a mirror breaking or a mask falling away. The fragmented image of yourself you've built around ideas, judgments, and inner dialogue suddenly reveals what's behind it, you. Without the distortions and labels, there's simplicity, just awareness. So if you aren't your thoughts, who are you? You're the one observing them, free to let them go without pulling them in too tightly. And while this can feel like freedom, the ego has one more trick. It whispers, sure, but at least you're in control, right? Let's see about that. Think about the last time life didn't unfold the way you had meticulously planned. Maybe it was a project at work that fell through, or a relationship that didn't turn out how you hoped. Did you feel that familiar surge of frustration, that tight grip of anxiety? This is the ego clinging to its third lie. You are in control. Control feels safe, doesn't it? The ego convinces us that by managing every detail we can avoid discomfort, failure, or uncertainty. It's constantly building strategies, micromanaging conversations, obsessing over to-do lists, all in an effort to keep life predictable. But the harder we try to keep everything in order, the more we notice the cracks, moments when reality doesn't care about our plans. And that's where the stress sets in. The constant battle between our desire to control and life's unpredictable nature. Imagine someone pouring sand into their hands, trying to keep every grain from falling. No matter how tightly they grasp, most of it slips through their fingers. This perfectly captures the illusion the ego creates. We pull strings like a puppeteer, believing we're making all the pieces fall into place. But if we look closely, those strings don't even exist. Carl Jung offers a powerful insight here, the idea that our unconscious mind, not the conscious ego, guides more of our lives than we admit. Beneath everything we think we know and control, there's this deep well of experiences, instincts, and patterns influencing our decisions. By acknowledging the role of the unconscious, we can begin to loosen the ego's grip and find a new approach, one that doesn't rely on wrestling life into submission. The need for control often comes from a fear of the unknown. The ego resists what it can't predict, struggling to create a false sense of stability where there is none. But that resistance only leads to more tension and disappointment. Think of someone obsessing over the outcome of a relationship or a career move. They replay conversations, second-guess every choice, and cling to outcomes they can't actually guarantee. The truth is, surrendering to uncertainty feels terrifying, but resisting it is exhausting. So what happens when we stop trying to dominate life and embrace its natural flow instead? When we let go, we make space for possibilities. Growth, creativity, and alignment emerge, not from control, but from allowing the unconscious to guide us. And that's where the real freedom begins. If these are the lies of the ego, then what lies beyond them? The truth is, you are not your ego. Beneath the illusions it weaves lies your authentic self, whole, complete, and unwavering. Carl Jung believed the ultimate aim of life is to become this true self, a process of recognizing both the conscious and unconscious parts of our being. Often it begins with discomfort, when the ego reaches its limits and forces you to look inward. Self-inquiry is the first step. Reflect, observe your thoughts without clinging, and release the idea of control. Jung said it best. Until you make the unconscious conscious, It will direct your life, and you will call it fate.